Now, we've just heard that ambassadors from the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council are to meet in New York tonight to discuss plans to put Syria's chemical weapons under international control. A week ago, if you remember, the drums of war. Today, the xylophone of tentative diplomacy. Washington and Moscow are, it seems, working together to put President Assad's stockpiles of chemical weapons on ice. But does this kick any intervention into the long grass while permitting the Syrian regime to continue slaughter by conventional means? In a televised address from the White House, President Obama said that any agreement must verify that the regime sticks to its commitments. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Miller reports from Washington.
At 8:46 Eastern Time, the United States of America remembered, as it does every year, that earth-shattering moment when American Airlines Flight 11 from Boston to LA slammed into the North Tower. And Barack Obama, the anti-war president, left to contemplate this confluence of 2 rivers of fate, the powerful legacy of that shocking event 12 years ago, and where what's happened since has left him today. At 9 p.m. sharp last night, he strode into the East Room of the White House to address a nation fed up of war. He needed to keep the threat of military action alive.
My fellow Americans, tonight I want to talk to you about Syria, why it matters, and where we go from here.
The irony of the allegation that in punishing Bashar al-Assad, the US would, 12 years on, be acting as al-Qaeda's air force, clearly resonating.
It's true that some of Assad's opponents are extremists. But al-Qaeda will only draw strength in a more chaotic Syria if people there see the world doing nothing to prevent innocent civilians from being gassed to death.
Give diplomacy a chance, he said, but US warships would remain at the ready. A delicate balancing act, this, as he sought to redefine this superpower's place in the world.
America's not the world's policeman. Terrible things happen across the globe, and it is beyond our means to right every wrong. But when, with modest effort and risk, we can stop children from being gassed to death and thereby make our own children safer over the long run, I believe we should act. That's what makes America different.
What Barack Obama did there was put America in a holding pattern, Congress on pause, as the USA watches and waits for the outcome of this latter-day version of gunboat diplomacy. The looming threat of World War III breaking out has been put on hold too, and for all the accusations of flip-flopping and fumbling, nobody, it seems, has actually come up with a better idea. Yet the speech has been roundly panned. Instant polls showed the public was unconvinced. On morning talk shows, the speech was branded muddled and inconsistent, a rehash. Republicans on Capitol Hill sent out an attack dog.
12 years after we were attacked by al-Qaeda, 12 years after 3,000 Americans were killed by al-Qaeda, President Obama now asks us to be allies with al-Qaeda.
It was 4 a.m. in Damascus when the American president spoke. State TV did not run it live. When they did, the speech did not figure prominently. Obama, it taunted him, was making stuff up to avoid humiliation, trying to justify what it called his inability to attack. The civil war rages on. Barack Obama promised last night to redouble efforts to achieve a political solution, but he proffered no plausible route to that end. At the Pentagon this afternoon, the president remembering that 9/11 attack on the very heart of America's war machine. It's a machine he now wants to just keep ticking over, but without which, he insists, we wouldn't have a diplomatic option at all. Jonathan Miller, Channel 4 News, Washington.